Is the bottom for Cardano almost in? Hi, my name is Nick and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today we're going to be talking everything Cardano's ADA, taking a look at the charts, taking a look at what we think is likely to happen next and all that wonderful stuff. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. And if you are looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, why not check out the Patreon services as well in the description below. Okay, let's make a start. Here on the chart here, you can see that we have Cardano's ADA paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source. Now, we're starting here because we want to reflect on what structures are currently here, right? Market structure is absolutely everything, specifically when we're trying to find out whether or not the bottom is in for Cardano. Okay, now I'm using Elliott wave theory, but there's many other ways that you can use to try to kind of come up with whether or not you think the structure of the market is, is going in the direction that you want it to, right? Now, Elliott wave theory sometimes seems really complex and really complicated, but actually I find it much more simple to kind of follow. It's a set of guidelines, guidelines and rules, actually, for that matter, that if you follow and implement, it kind of is very, very accurate. It's tracking the psychology of the people who are basically buying and selling, in this case, Cardano. Okay, so I want to kind of just reflect on what structures are here at the moment and what this might mean for Cardano's ADA. Okay, so up on this this side here, we have a 5-wave drop. Now, I'm looking at this as a leading diagonal, okay, but I could be wrong. This could just be 3 waves and we don't have to worry about it too much. Okay, now if I go ahead and do some measurements, what we want to do is we want to just check to see whether or not this actually meets all the kind of requirements that we would normally expect for this, right? So I'm just going to come across here. What we're going to do is we're just going to break this down just a little bit so we can see where things currently sit. And I'm just going to go ahead and actually just eyeball that on there. There we go. Move this over to our wave 2 high point. And you can see, yes, we crossed the 1.236. We moved down. We actually had a little bit of overlap just here. But we didn't with this one. So we can argue that maybe that's wave 3, this is wave 4, and this is wave 5. But again, these are kind of 3-wave structures, which makes you think it's a leading diagonal. Now, if that's a leading diagonal and that we went up in 3 waves, as in we just went A, B, C to the upside here, and then we start moving down in 5, we'd have to look at this as a 5-3, 5-3, 5. Okay, it can't be a zigzag, not with this structure, this side. Okay, likewise, it could just be 3 waves. So it can be one or the other. We'll know a little bit more a little bit further down the line, because one of the requirements that we'd have to have is that this low point here and this high point up here, if I can get it on the, no, I'm just going to have to do that, there we go, move it over to this high point here, we'd have to come down to this level here of 24 cent and 0.89, right? 24.89 cent. Now, if we can do that and we come down this low, then essentially that would be a leading diagonal. Failure to do this would basically mean that this is just 3 waves. Now, there's a difference in how we structure things out for Cardano, depending on whether we hit that 24.89 cent. Okay, and basically it could be 3, 3, and then 5, or it's 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. Okay, and obviously the latter would be taking us significantly lower, right? Significantly lower. Now, obviously, if it's just 3, 3, 5, then of course we're talking about a bottom being incredibly close. Not there yet, but we're very, very close to it. So this is kind of like a key thing. We know it can be multiple different structures right in here. Okay, and we want to be very, very cautious over what this particular part of the pattern or the structure of the market is telling us. Okay, so this is an important kind of part in ADA's history. Coming over here with 3 waves up isn't unusual. 5 waves down, that's our wave 1. Up in 2, that goes into 3 waves, and then pulling back down. Now, what we were looking for was a potential move up to 40 cent within our little wave 4 down here, right? But we actually failed to do that. We didn't reach this typical area. And this leads me into thinking that maybe we have only just barely finished the wave 3, meaning we've still got 4 and 5 still to come, of which is wave 3. Then we bounce up in a pretty significant wave 4 before dropping back down into the final 5th wave. So are we close to the bottom? We're getting there, but we've probably got a bit more volatility to experience before we actually see the true bottom for Cardano's ADA coming in. Okay, so I know that everything's looking really, really good. I'm seeing a lot of messages specifically in the Discord server asking questions about whether or not we think the bottom is in. But let me break this down. Right, we go 5 down, we go 3 up, we're looking for 5 down. Now, if we go ahead and take our measurements again from here to here, and I'll again just have to put it onto this dashed line. Save myself zooming in and out. We'll move it over to this dashed line just here. So basically the 5 waves there measured, moved over to the top of this area. And we can see that when we come down to this dashed line at 30.26, that is where we have our wave 3. At the moment, this is seen just as A, B, and C, but this would have to be ending in 5 waves if we started with 5 waves, okay? But I'm looking at this as maybe actually ending with 5 waves, 5 big waves, so 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, okay? But we aren't there yet, and you can see here down at the bottom, which I'm going to zoom into in a moment, is 30.26, okay? So 30.26 is a trigger point for this 5-wave structure. Likewise, 24.89, if that is where this final move down here would go, would make all of this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here becoming a wave 3 on a bigger scale, right? You can see how we got 5 waves inside wave 1, and we're looking for 5 waves inside wave 3. There'll be 5 waves inside wave 5, and that wave 5 should hit our 24.89, okay? And that would basically then take us into a 1, 2, 3, and then we'd have to go up into 4, then down into 5, and then so forth. And that's really where things get super bearish, and why, you know, people are getting a bit too carried away a bit too soon. Boredom comes in, steps in, and you know, people are still trying to you know, buy. Now, of course, you know, you can dollar cost average if those are your strategies and all those kind of things, but if you're trying to time a bottom, I don't think this is it. So let's go ahead and break down what's going on in here. Now, we've got this kind of move here. I think all of this is just our wave 3 that we haven't finished yet. So I'm going to park this down here, and I still think we've got a little bit more room to the downside before that comes in. Then we've got to come up, and then we've got to come back down again, okay? Now, the reason for that is that this looks like it's pretty much a clean drop to the downside here, and I'm still waiting for this one to finish out, and you can kind of see right inside this little structure just here, if I grab hold of this to this one, move this over to here, down here, we're just close to that 1.618. We're not quite there yet, though. Okay, but everything is pretty much dropping down in these kind of really big, impulsive kind of moves. And basically, I think we're getting close to the end. Now, we targeted this out originally at 31 to 33 cent in the last video. But if I come into this, I think we're going to have to adjust that just a fraction more. I think we've got to come down a little bit more before we bounce. And if I take this, I'm going to say that because we can refine this, and we can refine it even further every single time that we have a kind of a move in the market, it's looking like we're going to come into this little area here, which was basically 32.99, 32.99 cent, through to about 33.26 cent. Okay, so what we've done here is you can kind of see we've got this really big kind of broad, you know, slightly darker yellow box. This is our first accumulation zone. We've had this one for months. Then we narrowed it down into this little box here between 31 and 33, and now we're able to narrow it down into this 32 to 33 cent little range just there, right? And you can kind of see now this is where we think a move upwards is going to happen, and you know, logically thinking, we're probably just going to have to adjust this a little bit. Let's assume that we do hit that lower range there. We're going to be looking for that wave 4, which we still haven't had yet. And I'm going to assume the typical 38.2% comes in here at 39.89 cent. That would be our wave 4. I'll go ahead and remove the fib. We put that there. Okay, and if we do that, then of course we can be more predictive over where we would then move with our next wave 5, which would put our wave 3 ending. Yeah, that would be the end of our wave 3. So we would put that right into this little section here. Okay, so I'm just going to move this over. And this is basically going to be 29.33 to 31.58, I think it is. Okay, so that's pretty good. And we'll do is we'll remove that, and you can see that's where wave 5 would go. Okay, all of which is our wave 3. Okay, now this is then actually a little bit on the Interesting kind of side. So yeah, so that would be there. Then of course we'd have to move up into, let me put that back, move up into a wave 4, then down into a wave 5, and that's really where everything kind of moves around a bit. So you can kind of see how it would be very choppy around this little area here, and you have these clear kind of breaks, and you get these choppy areas where you're in these corrective phases, and then you move on down. So essentially that would then actually give us the 5, 3, 5, and then we'd have to go up in 3 and then down in 5 again. And I think we're going to be targeting out lower. I mean, 22.23 is a number that I've been talking about for months, and I do think that is getting closer to reality, but I think it's not going to hold, and we're probably going to come down deeper as well. So the answer to the question, do I think that the bottom of Cardano is almost in? I think we're getting closer to it, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Although timing is really difficult for me to do. I can't time the market using gateway theory, and the market structure to me is telling me that essentially we've got a lot further to go down, but there are some pretty good swing moments, right? One of these is coming here, for example, where, you know, if you were to think about dollar cost averaging into these low areas, you're still talking about a 20% swing to the upside before collapsing back down again. Likewise, if you do come down into these low ranges and then we swing up again, you're talking another 30% before breaking back down. But I do think that essentially those are counter to the trend, and the trend is down. So the bottom probably will happen, you know, over the next several months. It's just really hard to actually be more descriptive on timing the market and how low it actually could, or how long it takes to actually reach those low points, right? But essentially, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we've got good structure here. The market structure is holding up. We have some scoped out real kind of good swing trading opportunities. And if you are into trading, then do join us on our Patreon services, or, you know, the things that we have to offer down there. And of course, you know, if you are looking to trade, we have got links to Bybit and BitGet in the description below. BitGet's actually offering up to $8,000 in sign-up bonuses if you're not already signed up to BitGet. You could always check that out and take advantage of those offers that are available for the Cheeky Crypto community. Link is in the description below, but also down in our Discord server as well. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you found this useful and informative, and if you have, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you'll be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Other than that, I'll see you all in the next one.